the Republican Party could really be in trouble today. They really could. It turns out that their evil plan to restrict voting and tout voter fraud is not working for them. Let's look at this headline. After years of attacking early voting, Fox News worries early voting attacks backfired for the GOP. With the Georgia runoff election nearly over, Fox personalities reassess their network's efforts to discourage Republicans from getting out to vote. In other words, it's gonna come back to bite them in their behinds. This tactic is not working. And so that's right. The years that Fox News has spent railing against mail-in voting and early voting may have been a huge mistake on their part. Early and absentee voting has decreased significantly for Republicans in the state of Georgia. And so we can see the graph and see what has happened between Democrats, the GOP, and independent voters. And remember back in 2020, right-wing media engaged in a propaganda campaign against mail-in voting, lodging false claims that the process was illegitimate. Testimony to the House revealed President Donald J. Trump rejected entries by his own campaign to promote mail-in voting by his supporters, which may have been connected to his later attempts to throw out mail-in ballots and falsely declare himself the winner after he had in fact lost the election. Then in 2021, Fox News embraced the latest wave of Republican efforts at the state level to restrict voting, including in Georgia. And rather than encouraging Republican supporters to vote through any opportunity available to them. And as a consequence, Fox hosts who trashed early voting must teach their viewers to trust it now. Mayor, that is just really clear that these fools do not care about representative democracy at all. Because if they did, whatever methods that a state has, we should be increasing at access to the ballot box, promoting access to the ballot box, whether it be mail-in or early voting. That is what you do if you are pro-democracy, pro-representation, pro having people involved. But it is very clear that the Republicans and Fox News did not see it that way at the time, and now they are regretting it.
Ain't that something?
It is.
Ain't that something? There was no problems. Nobody had a problem with early voting as long as Republicans were using it. They were back when it was a popular tactic for them. When Democrats started using early voting, when we started voting by mail in larger numbers, it became a huge problem for them. Because their job is not to increase access to the ballot. Their job is to restrict black and brown people from voting in any way possible. So what they thought was they could talk, they can badmouth voting early, and it backfired on them.
It did backfire.
Their voters have 1 day to vote, one day to vote, and we're out here accessing early voting. So I'm loving it. I'm so glad this is the problem they found themselves in.
I'm loving it too, Mayor. And I want people to know, just because people jumped over the hurdle, because Republicans have put many hurdles in Georgia and all across the country, does not mean that there was not a hurdle. Okay, let me just say that just one more time. Just because people surmount the hurdle does not mean that there was not a hurdle. And they are surmounting those hurdles in the great state of Georgia. And can you guess who the real losers are at the end of all of this? For once, at least on this particular issue, the biggest losers are in the US midterm election is the Republican mega donors. They have poured so much money into these races, and they, for once, at least in this moment, may not get a big return on their investments.